What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. And today we've got a bit of a special one. We've actually got a surprise shirt mystery rebuild. So we've got no idea what's actually in this box. You guys have got no idea as well. And we're going to find out together at the same time what team we are going to be rebuilding. Now, if you do want to get your hands on one of these shirts, you can actually go over to surpriseshirts.co.uk and use code DAILY for 10% off. And you can also sign up to like a monthly subscription service. So it is a really good idea. It helped me pick a ton of FM saves. So definitely a good idea to do it. But let's go ahead and open it right now and see exactly what we've got in this box. And if you do enjoy the rebuilds on this channel, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel while you're there, because there is going to be a lot more of them coming about soon, and possibly some experiments. So get a comment on what teams you want to see rebuilt as well. But let's crack this box open and have a little look then. Crack it open. So, okay, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. Little guessing game. Lionel Messi obviously has played for this club. It is actually going to be Newell's Old Boys. The third shirt from the 2018 to 2019 season. Newell's Old Boys is a club from the city of Rosario in the Santa Fe region of Argentina. The clubs are named after Isaac Newell from Kent, England, who was one of the early pioneers of football in Argentina. The Lepra play at the Estadio Marcel Bielsa, named after their former manager and player. The side are famous for youth developments. Both Lionel Messi and Diego Maradona, not the worst bit of youth to come out of the system, is it? Through the club's academy. Newell's wore the classy third shirt in the 2018 campaign, in which they finished 15th in the Premier Division. That is a good bit of history. It's a little bit of a backstory. We're going to show you the shirt now as well. Let's get it out. So what you get in your box, essentially, obviously, is a little fact card. And obviously the shirt, which is drawn at random. All you need to do is obviously mention your size, and you are all good. And we have got, it's actually quite a classy shirt, to be honest. It is a classy shirt. We'll whack it on. We'll whack it on. Right, so we're kitted up. We've got it on, as you can see. Up the team. We love to see it. And we're now going to talk a little bit about this team as a whole. So as you can see, we are using a new skin, by the way. So let me know what you think of the skin. Media prediction is going to be 14th. So we have got a lot of rebuilding to do. And our main aim through this rebuild is to win as many trophies in the Argentina sort of league as possible, including the cups, including everything. But in terms of actually some of the history, we're not going to talk about it, because obviously we had a great bit of history from there as well. And I feel like this is a very good project, because we rarely have done any rebuilds in this division. And the one thing that I wanted, when they were very generous in offering to send me one, I didn't want it to be a team like a Barcelona or anything crazy, you know? So I'm actually excited to do this rebuild, and we're going to go into the first season now and see exactly how well we done. So we're going to do things a little bit 360 right now, because we actually had zero money. So there isn't going to be a transfer window to start with. But what we did do is win the league in the first season, very convincingly as well. 73 points. Obviously, it's going to be Velez coming in with 54. And this player here, by the way, who's an absolute baller, is going to be the top goal scorer. Quite a good complete player, to be fair. The age of 23. Very good acceleration, good bit of pace on him, and fantastic finishing. And also a little bit of room to grow. He might not be forever our striker in the system, but to start with, a very, very good player. And going over to the actual cups, it wasn't ideal. Obviously the League Cup and also the Copa Argentina we didn't do the best in, but for a first initial season with no signings, I'm not going to complain at all. By the way, this is the tactic which we did use. It is a nice simple, it's not a downloaded tactic, it's not one of mine that I've made even. It's a nice simple positive 4-3-3. You can't really go wrong with 4-3-3. I noticed right away that we have some very good wingers. Look at the age, by the way. We've got a lot of young players in this team, especially on the bench as well, which we do love to see. And 4-3-3s work really well. And in terms of the actual schedule, it was really, really positive for us. So we started off the friendlies reasonably well. We lost a testimonial, which isn't ideal, but it is what it is. We then, however, bounced back in the friendly, win this testimonial in 5-0 fashion. We then actually go on a nice little spree here before our first loss. Actually going 4 games there, 5 games including the testimonial, without even conceding a goal. So very impressive stuff there. A 1-0 here, a 5-0 here. This was a bit of a heavy defeat. I'm not going to lie, but it is what it is, because to be honest, majority of the results are in the green, which we do love to see. A little draw coming in here. Bounce back, and this is the gutting one, because we actually could have gone through to a League Cup final right away, but unfortunately we do actually get knocked out on penalties, and they were down to 10 men as well, so not a good sort of display there. I'm going to be realistic with you. But overall, in terms of the actual Premier Division, it is looking really, really good. We didn't lose too many games at all. Again, another penalty shootout, so we need to get a little bit more icy in the penalty shootouts because clearly we haven't got it in us to actually win one, which is a little bit annoying, but that is the way it is the way it is. In terms of the actual squad stats, though, we've got a lot of people getting involved right now. We're going to have 28 goals and 5 assists in 40 appearances from Riasco, the player which we were hyping up at the start. They've got 27 appearances, 15 goals and 6 assists for Sordo. That player's obviously out on loan. Gonzalez, 11 goals and 15 assists as well. Gianni with 11 and 14. 10-11 for the loanee, which is going to be Menendez. Now, it's very interesting with players like this because although he is a very good player, it all comes down, can we afford to get this guy on a permanent? And to be honest, probably not. I'm going to be real because we didn't have the biggest budget going forward into this. And that is the only difficult thing with doing rebuilds in these leagues. What the positive, though, I will say the positive, it gives you a really good opportunity to use the young players that do come through the system. And obviously a team like this have had some absolute ballers come through. So we need to keep an eye out before we go into the second season and see who's in the reserves and promote them to the first team because I don't feel like we're going to do many signings. And yeah, talking about any signings, I don't feel like we're going to make any in the second season either because personally, I don't really want to sell anyone. Maybe some of the older players, but at the moment, we've actually got £85,000, which, although it might sound a lot, in football, that is literally pennies. And we're not going to be able to bring in anyone. Also, it's going to be difficult to attract players to this league, for example, like a Premier League player. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually look through the reserves and promote a few players, and I'll come back to you with the new tactic, with the new team, and see who has made it in to this team. So as mentioned, we literally had no money to spend, but what I did do is I went into the reserve team and also the team below that, and we promoted a few players. Now, actually, I just wanted to show you this because I didn't go over it at the start. Look at the amount of potential we've actually got in some of these players at the club. I mean, some of these players are only 16, 17, 18, and their potential is through the absolute roof. Hence why we have promoted a few of these players to go into the first team, because to be honest, we do need some depth in certain areas. But this is going to be the team going into the second season. Like I said, hopefully, possibly in the third season, if we carry on winning, we can actually even get sort of 3 to 5 million to spend. But overall, this team's not half bad. If we do this quickly, you can see some of the actual standard of players. We've got sort of 3-star and above in every single position, and the ages are also really good. There's only sort of a couple of older ones here, being the goalkeeper at 33, which typically goalkeepers can be a little bit older. The left back, possibly we might need a sort of younger option to come in, but it's actually quite a good start on 11. Obviously, we have got a few players that are obviously on loan, and whether we can keep them is literally, well, it's one of them ones. It depends on how much money we get given to us next season, because some of these players, for example, the likes of Gomez, I would like to try and keep, but it all depends on how much his value's at. We are going to have a quick look. So where is he? His value's at 7.4 million. Now, in any other save, that's not a lot of money, but for us, that is a ridiculous sum to even think of. So players like this, we might not even be able to actually convince to stay, which is going to be gutting, but that is the challenge of playing in a league like this. But let's go into the second season and see exactly how we done. So, the second season has been simulated, and it is looking a lot better as well. So, we've actually managed to continue winning the Argentinian Premier Division. Not as convincingly, 3-point advantage obviously over Talleres, but still, we had to do the job, we done the job, and that's all that matters. We also won the Copa. Again, it was quite a dramatic final, a 4-2 win in extra time, but we're not going to complain about that either. Runners-up in the Super Cup, and we also did win this Campones trophy down here, so it is going to be a treble-winning season. It could have been a quadruple, but obviously not fortunate enough here to actually get the job done. In terms of the actual stats in the league, it's going to be Funes coming in with 14 goals. Again, a very exciting talent. Seem to have endless talent when it comes to strikers. Reasonably quick as well. Great finishing at the age of 22. 15 finishes as well. Good off the ball work from him as well. So again, a player which hopefully can continue to develop in this save. And he actually done it consistently over a lot of the leagues as well, or a lot of the competition, should I say. In this one here, we do have a different one. That is going to be Funes. Not Funes, sorry. We actually just looked at Funes. Where was he? I was going to look at Sam Saforza, who obviously is going to be our box-to-box. And again, it's a player who is 21 years of age, sorry. Only on £750 a week, which seems very weird because obviously we do a lot of rebuilds with big teams. So seeing a player on 750 quid does look a lot different. But overall, a fantastic player, tons of potential in him, and he's already a really good player as it is. Really well balanced in terms of the stat lines, and look at the amount of positions this guy can play. So let me know if you've used him before, because I'll tell you what, if you're doing a sort of lower league save, this could be a very good player to bring in. Going over some of the actual results then, one thing I noticed about this season, which is very strange because obviously we did win a treble, look how many draws we actually got this season. It gets even crazier down here. We actually picked up 4 draws back to back. a 1-1, 2 0-0s, a 1-1, and a 1-1. So I'm almost debating on making this tactic maybe a little bit more attacking, because I feel like maybe that's the piece that we're missing. But overall, still a very, very good season. There wasn't too many humiliating defeats at all in here. None of these are humiliating. They're by a goal. Literally no humiliating defeats at all. So it was a very, very good season. And obviously, this was one of the standout games, which is going to be the final. So this is obviously going to be one of the standout ones. It is going to be the final, the 4-2 final, in a game which, to be honest, we definitely did deserve. I say definitely. To be honest, it's actually a really close game. You can look at this right now. The possession isn't really favoured in anyone. Actually, there's a little bit. In terms of the shots, do you know what? To be honest, it's one of them games which I feel like both teams deserve to win it. But when a game goes to extra time, it always goes in one favour, and, you know, they obviously collapsed, as you can see right now. A penalty in the 95th minute, and the 107th minute right there, we seal it off in what was a 4-2 win. So, a little bit unfortunate for them, but we're definitely not going to complain. In terms of the actual squad screen, let's go ahead and have a little look right now. We'll go by goals. Everyone loves goals. Who doesn't? So, it's actually going to be the player out on loan who gets the most goals, funny enough. It's going to be Riasco coming in with 14, Gianni with 14, 13 for Gonzalez, Sforza with 9, 8 for Mendes, Gomez with 4. In terms of the assisters, we are going to have a little look right now. We're going to have 16, 12, 12. Gianni, again, had a really, really good season. Who actually had the best season of match rating? But he played one game. Let's be realistic. It's going to be our box-to-box, the player that we were so keen to try and obviously develop in this save. Averaging a 7.31 over 59 appearances, so fair play to him. I'm a player which obviously did keep very fit as well. A lot fitter than some of these other players, by the way. We did pick up quite a few injuries, I would like to point out. But overall, a very, very good season, and we are sort of noticing a bit of development now. You know, we're not only just winning the league, we're winning this trophy, although, you know, they're not the big sort of massive ones. They are still good ones, and it could so close to being a quadruple winning season. Going into the next season, we have got £13 million to spend, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, with this type of money, we can actually bring in probably 3 to 4 players, because the players we can attract aren't going to be in the Premier League, probably not even in any of the European leagues. We're going to strictly target some hot talent in the Argentinian, possibly the Brazilian league as well. Ideally, I'm going to keep it to the Argentinian league, sorry, because it is going to be a lot more easy to register the players. There's going to be no sort of crossovers, and there is a ton of talent in this division anyway. So let's go over and see who we can pick up. But we've actually spent fairly big, and the thing which I'm happy about is we've actually managed to do this without selling any players. Now, we have obviously used add-ons and installments to get some of these deals over the line, which is completely fine because the finances aren't actually too bad right now. The first player you bring in is going to be from Hurricane for 2.7 million. That is going to be Meza. Now, the one thing in this team which I noticed significantly is the goalkeepers we had were getting on, and the backup keeper was okay, and he was 25. This guy's 23, is already better than the other option we had, and he's also got a little bit of potential to grow, and he is more than good enough for this division. Not a bad price tag for a first-team keeper. In terms of the next one, which is going to be Ivan Gomez, obviously for £2.1 million. Again, another midfield player, because, again, we have got some older players, which, unfortunately, we can't really shift on at the moment because they don't want to leave. But I am focusing for the future. I'm trying to bring in some sort of mid to sort of, you know, young to middle sort of age players. And this is one obviously on the older spectrum of that, being 26 years of age. But he is sort of already pre-built. He's not too old. He's still got, you know, 5 to 6 years to offer us. More than enough for this save for definite. And some of his attributes really do stand out. His tackling's good. He's got very good teamwork, okay work rate, good positioning. And like I said, he's just going to shape up that midfield. He can play a variety of roles deeper in the midfield. And I think he's a really good addition for that price tag. Going over again, it is going to be Rodrigo Villarreal from Talleres. Obviously a team which didn't have a bad season. I think that was this season or the previous one. 6.5 million. Again, it's going to be another midfield player, 22 years of age this time, so a little bit younger. And again, the same reasons apply for this guy as well. He can play practically everywhere in the sort of deeper areas of the field. His attributes are already really, really good. The key ones obviously being his aggression, good positioning, good marking, good tackling on him, and just, he strikes me, he's going to be a very good sort of deep line playmaker in my opinion. Decent passing at that age as well at 14. So ideally, this guy's going to be a player that is going to develop and stay in the team, because if he does, that midfield's going to be incredible. And to finish it off, we actually go over to Velez and we picked up a Valentin Gomez. Now, this guy is actually a wonder kid in the game and a player which I had to get through the door. He's actually got tons of potential. He's only 20 years of age. He's already a 4-star ability, and he just looks a really solid centre-back. He's not the quickest, I must say, but the strength is there. He's not like ridiculously slow either, but he's not like rapid. The strength is there. He's got good tackling, good marking, good passing for a centre-half, and considering we are playing ball-playing defenders, that really helps out in this scenario. And like I said, the age is the real key thing here. This guy's easily going to be a centre-half for 10 plus years, so in my opinion, the team has strengthened significantly. And going over to the tactics right now, we are going to see he slots right in. So we are going to now have Hoyos, Mascarera, Ditta, Gomez, Lozano, Gomez, Sforza, Valagra, Gianni, Gonzalez, and Funes. And obviously the backup keeper we have, which is going to be Meza, at the moment is going to be on the bench. But eventually he will obviously work his way into the team. This keeper here, by the way, no misjustice to him. Seems like a great guy, but he is 34. He's slowly declining, as we can see by some of the attributes here. And I feel like it's a good time to bring in another keeper. But with that being said, let's get into the third season, simulator, and hopefully carry on winning. So the third season didn't go to plan. I'm going to be real, it didn't go to plan because for the first season in 3, after strengthening the team, now we're going to put this down to the fact that we do need to gel a little bit. The players need to get used to each other. We lost it by a point, so it's not horrific. But the fact that we've won it twice and now we're not is a little bit concerning. However, we don't go home empty-handed. We will obviously win the South American Recopa and the Super Cup. So it is going to be 2 trophies again that we bring to this fantastic club. Runners up again we need to stop bottling the finals because we've already missed out on 2 trophies which we could have won. Unfortunately, we obviously lose here. Runners up again. It's got to be Funes. This guy is absolutely incredible. The stats he's putting up is ridiculous. Again, he is a really good player. Acceleration's rapid, the pace is there, the finishing's there. He's only 23 years of age as well, but he is doing some really, really good things. You can see actually a little bit more with this skin, to be fair. So let me know what you think of the skin in the comments, but I'm a really big fan of the actual detail it does show because we can see right now his pros and his cons. A few of his cons obviously are going to be the happiness with training, the cross and competitive streak, which I actually will question because he is putting up goals in some very important games as well. But what a player this guy is obviously turning out to be. Really a big fan of him. And in terms of the actual schedule, let's go and have a little look then. So is it all negative? You know what? It's not looking negative at all. What we're noticing again, we're noticing a very familiar pattern. The odd draw here and there is the reason we're actually losing a lot of these competitions and not winning stuff, which is a little bit annoying because all the games are relatively close that we are either drawing or losing. The ones that we're winning are quite convincing. That there's a lot of games here. 3-0, 4-1, 3-1, 3-1, 3-0, a 4-0, a 4-0. We're thumping a lot of these teams in the division. And in fact, if we go down here, we went on a very impressive spree. It's actually down here, isn't it? We went on all of these games right now with actually only drawing 2 games and winning the rest. So we had a really good, obviously, point in the season. We clearly can't win penalty shootouts. That's one of the issues. I believe we have possibly lost every single penalty shootout, it seems, which is a little bit annoying. The final there is not a great one. Did we get battered? I believe we got battered. We deserved a goal to be. Actually, do you know what? I think we deserved a goal in that game. It's a very unfair 3-0, but not the best display there in the final. That has to be said. But overall, we're unlucky to not win the Premier Division because we put up a really good display in it. It's just obviously the odd draw here and there is the reason we lost. Literally, all we needed was 1 more point and we would have won it on goal difference. So if we wouldn't have drawn all them games, we would have won the league. Going over to the squad, though, let's go and have a look at some of the goals. We are going to be seeing it. It's going to be Funes, it's to be expected. 44 goals across all competitions with 6 assists. They're going to be Gonzalez coming in, a player which I am really excited to actually have in the team. His finishing isn't the best, so it does surprise me that he's got so many goals. But you know what? He does his thing, he gets the job done, and that's all that matters. And that is the main thing. Going over though, so he actually contributed with 21 goals and 26 assists. It's going to be 16 goals and 21 for Gianni. It's going to be Recalde coming in with 5 and 2. So there is quite a bit of a drop off, to be fair. 13 and 7 to be fair out of Sordo and 12 and 3 out of Riasco. He was originally the star striker, wasn't he, in the first season? But now Funes has come in and he has just completely taken over. And you know what? I'm all for it because at the end of the day, if he's putting the ball in the back of the net, who am I to question him? But going into the next season, we've been given a bit of a smaller budget, £5.2 million, but we are going to do our best to try and get rid of some of the older players because we do have a couple of players that are sort of 34 plus. And the idea for this sort of rebuild is not only to win trophies, but to leave them with the best team possible that I can physically get them. So we are going to go have a little play about in the window, see what we can do. And I'll come back to you in season 4 of this rebuild. Do want to quickly say, if you are enjoying today's video, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. And thank you guys for 8k subs. We are absolutely killing it at the moment. And we are now going to slowly introduce a little bit of a variety into the content. I have seen a lot of people demand, a little bit more rebuilds, a little bit more variety. But let me know in the comments right now what videos you'd like to see. It can be a rebuild, it can be a tactic, or it can be an experiment. Let me know in the comments what you want to see. But let's go ahead and talk about Season 4's transfers, because we did actually bring in 2 more players. So, with that budget, we did actually manage to bring in a couple more players. Obviously, Gomez was a player that we originally did have, so we're going to ignore him. But the player we did offload is going to be Gustavo Villeles to Girani for £92,000. We bring in GA from San Lorenzo for £6.5 million. A player who's obviously here till 2029 as well. Got him on quite a good contract. And he's going to be a right-back option. And he does actually get into the first team right away. 20 years of age. Great tackling, reasonably quick as well. His fitness is an absolute joke. 19 natural fitness, great stamina as well. Good decision making, good passing. He is really a complete wingback at the age of 20. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And he can still grow, which is honestly a little bit scary because this guy is in full takeover mode. But do you know what? For that price tag, you aren't going to get much of a better right back as well, especially one that wants to play for this team. And do you know what? His value is skyrocketed as well at £9 to £13 million. Now, going over to the next player is going to be Thomas Pozzo. I'm coming in for £6.5 million. Again, he's a player who we are going to bring on the right-hand side, and that is for simply backup on the winger option because we are lacking in that a little bit. The backup options we did have were quite old, and the other one we had was young, but wasn't really developing too well. This guy is a really good option because he isn't completely rapid, 14 and 14 is decent, but it's the finishing. We are expecting goals from this guy. 14 finishing, decent dribbling, good technique on him, great little bit of flair, which we do love a little bit of flair in this division. Reasonably quick, great balance, and again, 24 years of age, so he's not super young, but also he's of a decent age to where he can contribute for sort of 6 or 7 seasons. And again, for that price tag, we can't really complain. And currently only on £30,000 a week, which, to be honest, is a little bit, it's kind of expensive for this league, but he is a really, really good player. And going over to the tactics right now, he's actually going to be getting into the team. This is filtered by the best 11, just to make that clear. It is now going to be Meza, who I'm very happy to see getting into the first team. It's going to be Gage at right back, Dita Gomez, Lasanio Gomez, Saforza, Valagra, Gonzalez, Pozzo, and Gianni. What we're noticing about the bench right now is not only have we got a lot of talent, but we are slowly pushing out some of the older players. We've still got a couple of players. Obviously, it's going to be Hoyos, so we just can't get rid of him. He doesn't want to leave. I think he's going to retire here. 31 coming in from Pitton, who obviously was one of the starting left backs, who I am looking to sort of offload. I'm going to be honest with you. And also Rasalde, who's 32 years of age. We're just trying to get rid of some of the older players to replace them with youth, because that is what this rebuild is all about. But let's go ahead and see how we done. And we're going to simulate all the way over to Season 4, and hopefully we can win the league again. Well, things must be cursed, guys, because it's happened again. We have lost the league by 1 point. 1 point only. It's going to be Boca actually winning it this season with 62. The reason why I'm not as annoyed, as much as I should be, is because we have actually won the treble nevertheless, because we've won, finally, this trophy, which we love to see. We've also won the Copa and also the Argentine League Cup. And it is going to be the same old story. Funes dropping a sensational season, as we're so used to seeing. I mean, you really can't go wrong with this guy. He's developing into some player. Or, when I say developing, he's not actually really growing in terms of the stats. He's just playing so well. He's scoring so many goals, and he's a really influential player. And obviously, we're not going to complain about winning 3 trophies at all. Going over to the actual, let's look at the schedule first. There is going to be a lot of green on this one. We've actually got a penalty shootout, which we love to see, and that was to push us through to the league final against Boca. How did we do in that one? Let's have a little look. It wasn't an exciting game, really. We dominated possession, not a lot of XG from either side, and we snatched it with a 2-1 win, to be fair. They scored in the 72nd minute, so I reckon we held on pretty well there. But do you know what? It's a cup final. Sometimes it goes either way. Sometimes there's either tons of goals or both teams are nervous, and it's not very fun to watch. But overall, a very, very good season here. You can see some of the results. A 9-0 win here. We do love to see that. Not many losses at all, really. One coming in here, a 3-2 loss, a 1-0. But what we've definitely eliminated right now, we have got no embarrassing losses. The most we lost here is 3-0, which isn't ideal. But I tell you what makes that even better is we won 3-0 in our leg and won on penalties. We are finally winning penalty shootouts, which is what we want to be seeing. And obviously, this is another final here. How do we do in that one? A 1-0. Again, a very, 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 very dull final. We scored in the 34th minute. The stats were very even. It could have went either way. Very unlucky. It didn't go to extra time for them, to be honest. But although the finals were close, they still are won, and that's all that matters. Going over to the actual squad then, let's go and have a little look. The goals, it is going to be the typical story. It is actually, it's not. It's going to be something different. Oh, no, I've got it wrong. 40 goals. 40 goals from Funes. Gonzalez, this player I am so fond of. A great player. Just a really complete player as well. Still only 24 years of age. 27 goals, 21 assists, 22 goals and 18 from Pozzo. Gianni, 16 and 9. 14 goals coming in from Riasco, a player who obviously probably is annoyed he's not starting as much, but he's still putting up a decent amount of goals. We can't really argue that. 9 goals from Saforza, a player who is still playing very, very well, to be fair to him. Obviously, this is the box-to-box player who I was hyping up a lot at the start of the video. We are going to say that. And overall, it's just really refreshing to see everyone getting involved. So, you know what? We carry on like this, I'm hoping we can end season 5 with a league win, because that would really put the icing on the cake. I feel like if we win that, we've won a decent amount of trophies. We've sort of taken this team back to a really respectable level. But let's go over and see what we can do. And going into the last season, we haven't got a lot to play with. We've got £3.3 million to spend. I'm confident we can possibly pick up 1 player. I'm gonna try and get 2, because I would like another attacker just for a little bit of depth. And I have seen someone who I've got my eye on. And if we can get him, I'll point that out. But let's go over to season 5 of the transfers and see exactly who we can bring in. So, going into the last season, we've got a couple of pages of transfers, actually. We do offload 3 players, as you can see right now. A couple of them are purely on loans. But we do actually turn to Kevin Lopez for £3.5 million. And he is just another player to bring in that midfield. A couple of midfielders obviously did retire. We also released one, I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes when you've got an old player that isn't really playing well, he's soaking up the wage. If it doesn't cost too much to release him, I'm a big advocate of doing that, because sometimes you just don't want them in the team. And this guy is a very, very good player. He's got potential to get to 4-star, 24 years of age, already quite good stat lines on him as well. And this is one that can play in more of the attacking roles, obviously. We previously signed a couple of more defensive ones. This is one of the few players, which we've been looking at recently, who can play not only in the defensive area, but also the attacking area very comfortably. So having someone like him with these sort of average stat lines, or these average stats or attributes, I like calling them stats, to be honest, is really, really helpful to have in the team. And going over to what is going to be the next sign in a free transfer is going to be Heze. And again, it is going to be a player for the midfield. I don't know what the obsession is with signing midfielders, but if they're free, I'll pick them up. That's one of my weaknesses on FM. If there's a free agent, I will get them in. And this guy, again, is just going to be purely for depth. It's not too much to have at the club either. 15k a week, valued at 2 to 3 million. So we definitely got a bit of a bargain there. Obviously completely free, no cost to us at all. Quite quick for a midfielder, to be fair. Again, he can play in more attacking areas, but definitely thrives when it comes to the more defensive areas. Now, this guy, this is the player I wanted. That is going to be Farias, a player who I used last year. I used this year as well for a rebuild. I am such a big fan of him. I guarantee this guy will deliver, because he always does. He can play on the left, on the right, in the middle, and up top. He can do it all. He is costing us £23,000 a week to have at the club, but he honestly is the complete package. And his attributes, to be honest, they do actually look quite good. Good technique, good off the ball, good flair, decent finishing, good acceleration, good pace, good first touch, great dribbling. He might not look incredible when it comes to the pace area and possibly even the finishing, but I guarantee this guy will have a good season, because he is absolutely incredible. So I would recommend, do pick this guy up if you ever see him, because he delivers every time. And going into the last season, he actually does slot up top. Now, I am going to decide, obviously the best 11 is decided by the game, and we might actually roll with it. But the starting 11 is going to be Meza, Gage, Dissa, Gomez, Lasalio, Villagra, Saforza, Lopez, Pozzo, Gonzalez, Farias. And now the bench is looking a lot better. We are seeing a lot more younger players coming through. Still a couple of sort of middle-aged players, but we have got a really, really good team now going on. And I feel that it would be disappointing. It would be disappointing if we don't win the league. So let's go over to season 5, last season of the rebuild, and see exactly how well we done. Well, it is going to end in disappointment. It just shows not everything can go your way, as we lose another season by 1 point against Boca Juniors. Again, it happens. It is honestly cursed, I swear to God. Luckily, we sort of bail ourselves out again here by winning 3 trophies, being the South American Recopa, the Argentina, and the Argentine Super Cup. And we are seeing a certain Farias being top goal scorer in 4 competitions, which is what we definitely want to be seeing. I know how good this guy is. I thought he was going to be the final piece to obviously getting us back on top. But it's not as if we haven't won league titles. I believe we've won 2. Am I right? I think we've actually lost 3 league titles by a point. If that's not getting FM'd, I don't know what is. But going over to the schedule, again, it's not even looking too negative. Quite a bad defeat here, though, against the strongest. I guess you can't argue against losing against the strongest. What a name for a team. But again, I mean, how boring is that? A 1-1 draw and a testimonial. Come on, guys. Go to penalties. Have a laugh. Have a laugh. But overall, there are a lot of good results here. I mean, there's so many greens compared to the draws and the losses. I do feel like, again, a penalty shootout. I do feel it would have been interesting to do this rebuild and see if we would have won all the penalty shootouts we were in, the amount of trophies we would have won extra would have been crazy. And also, the amount of draws we've been getting in the league is the real issue right now. To be fair, we did lose a couple right here, so maybe this is a season we can't be too angry about. But the Copa Argentina final, how was it? Was it a good game? It was a game we deserved to win. 63% of the ball, 2.11 XG, 9 on target, 19 overall. I don't think we can argue about that one. What about the... Where is it? Where is it? Am I being blind? We've done the Copa... Where is it? Where is it? Super Cup, that's the one. Against Boca, a 1-0. Oh yeah, we dominated that game as well. So to be fair, we are playing well against a big team. 63% possession again, something which we're just pretty fond of this team, quite clearly. 1.1 XG, 4 on target, 9 overall. A very, very convincing season. And in terms of the actual squad, let's go and have a little look at the goals. That's the main focus. 43 from Farias, obviously a key player. Rodriguez, who actually went out on loan, which wasn't actually my decision. I'm going to throw that out there, although he probably wouldn't have played too much, so fair play. Riasco with 18, Funes with 16, 16 for Gonzalez, Pozzo with 15, 15 for Gianni, Lopez with 13, and 5 for Gomez. The assisters as well, 18 for Gonzalez, 16 for Faris. He had one hell of a season. 15 coming in for Lopez, Gianni with 14, 11 for Sforza, and Pozzo with 10. So overall, I'm actually happy with how this rebuild has gone. And if we were going to carry it on, we would have had 4.9 million, so not a bad bit of finance either. Now, what I will say is, it would have been really interesting to see what would have happened if we would have just won a few more penalty shootouts. It would have been absolutely incredible. But in my opinion, it's a very successful rebuild. Let me know in the comments, though, what you guys think. Do you like the team we've left them with? And are you excited to see rebuilds finally back on this channel? I personally love making them. It's really nice to do a different style of video. But let me know in the comments what you thought of the rebuild. Did we succeed? Did we not? And while you're there, please do leave a like on the video. And that is going to be it for me today, guys. I've enjoyed. Hopefully, I see you here again. I'll see you in the next one.